Hey CDA, and welcome back to Satisfactory. Today we are going to do some science, but first things first, we are going to have to pick a recipe from our hard drive result. Now, charcoal seems to be the clear loser of these three, because who wants to turn wood into coal? But the iron plates and the rotor recipes, alternative recipes I should say, are both quite nice. Now, I do think the bolted iron plate is the clear winner, mostly because it's similar to the original recipe. And we could theoretically already employ it if we would want to by kind of realigning our facility. Because the main difference between this recipe and the normal recipe is that it uses a lot less iron plates at the cost of slightly more screws. And by slightly more, I do mean almost an entire belt, Mark III belt full. So that is something to take into account when we're actually going to use this recipe. But the copper rotor, on the other hand, has the downside of actually using copper. Now, depending on whether or not you want to call it a downside, actually, the copper is actually a recipe that requires us to have two different resources at one location, which we currently do not. At least we don't have anything set up to do that. So I think the safe pick here is the bolted iron plate. Now, what I actually do not like is the fact that we have to pick something without having an immediate use for it in order to be able to access the rest of the MAM again. So I'm gonna go for the bolted iron plate because it's kind of the safe pick, but the rotor is probably a very solid pick as well compared to the other picks that we currently have up here. Simply because it's a completely different recipe, so it gives you a little bit more flexibility in terms of what recipe you are going to use. Now, that said, what I want to do today is kind of focus a little bit on progressing through these tech trees. Now, we already have the alien organisms one unlocked, but I definitely want to focus a little bit on the Caterium one, and we can do that because we currently do have access to a Caterium pure node actually up here. It's up here on the island, and if we get access to that, we should be able to unlock at least a part of this. And considering we can unlock the wiring pretty easily, we should then also be able to unlock the electronics, the stun rebar, and the zip line. So all of those things sound pretty useful, and we can take a look at what comes next. Now here we are at the island, and we have a problem that I didn't foresee, because apparently there's these huge chunks of rock on top of the pure node I was talking about. Now, it's pretty easy to just build a bridge there and actually get there, but we can't actually put a miner on it because these rocks are in the way. Now, I think I know how to solve that. In order to do that, we're going to have to jump back to our base. Yes, I did actually build a hypertube all the way to the place where we are going to be building today. Not entirely sure if that's a thing people do or not, but it makes it a lot easier to get around and just to hop back to the base in case we miss anything. Now, what we're going to want to do is kind of look at the sulfur tree in our map, because I think, if I remember correctly, the answer should be there. Now, if we go to the sulfur tree, we have black powder, which sounds like something that will explode, and we only need a little bit of sulfur in order to make that. And then we should be able to also make some black powder, combine that with items we already have as well, and create something that's called the Nobelisk detonator. Now, I actually have no idea what a Nobelisk is, but I'm assuming it blows stuff up. Okay, now we don't actually have that much sulfur right now, and we have only 87, so that should be enough to unlock this, and that should only take a second or three. There we go. Are you going to talk to us, Ada, or not? No, it doesn't seem like that. Smokeless powder. That doesn't tell me anything about what's going to be next in this tree. We can also unlock what sounds very interesting, which is experimental power generation. We have all the materials for that as well, so let's see what that leads us to. Compacted coal, which is what? Is sulfur plus coal plus something I don't think we can actually make just yet, so that's interesting. And what's this? Turbo fuel. Okay, and that is compacted coal plus something. I guess that's fuel. And once again, a building that I don't know what it is. Interesting. Okay, so what we want to go after next is this. In order to make this, we are going to have to craft that black powder several times over, and in order to do that, we are going to need some sulfur. Now, if I'm not mistaken, we should have sulfur, well, not close by, but we do have it in the area somewhere. I think it was up here somewhere. Let's see if we can actually find it with the scan. Yeah, there we go. We have a normal purity node, and we actually have one over there as well. This is kind of out of the way, but this is very close to our power facility. So let's go and grab that one. I'm on my way to the sulfur, and I don't know, is that a spider? Holy crap, those things must give people nightmares. I'm not a big, huge fan of spiders, but I can handle them, don't get me wrong, but I can imagine people do not like those. What's up here, by the way? This is iron ore. It's a very convoluted way to get some iron ore. Anyway, let's get on to the sulfur. Speaking of nasty wildlife, did I just get attacked by one of those kind of rammy dudes, but this one actually has horns? I don't think this other one has horns, does it? It also drops 3 hawk remains rather than 1, so that's interesting. Things are turning nasty as further we get from our starting location. So after battling my way through quite a few hostile locals, I found the sulfur. The good news is I found the sulfur. The bad news is it's on top of a freaking mountain. So thank you, developers. I know you had some fun placing this all the way up here. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to build a ramp, or at least an elevator down here to get the resources down. And then we're going to funnel it into this direction, which is actually where our coal power facility is, because we do have a surplus of coal back there, and well, we are going to need sulfur and coal in order to make the black powder. So let's jump to that. And I'm officially king of the hill with this very dangerous ladder in the middle of nowhere here. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure why I placed it over there either, but if you make a jump from over here to here, you can exactly make that and get some adrenaline as a bonus. Now, let's connect these up. We should already have this up and powered. There we go, and now we have sulfur flowing down, and that should make its way all the way back to our base. But first things first, we also have a little bridge over here that leads into this area where I think we'll have at least one of those pods. Now, I'm actually not sure. Is there any parts of the pods down here as well? Let's zoom in again using the photo function. Well, there's screws down there that I definitely do not care about. But let's see, what else can we find? We also need to get up here somehow. Maybe not like that. Like so. That should work, right? Yes. Okay, can we pick something up from this? Doesn't look like it. Anything else here? There's a lot of leaves here. Oh, look, it's more screws. Can we pick this up? Can we pick this up? Nope. I hear critters nearby, but let's see. More screws? Really? Screws? You're just taunting me at this point, right? Any unfriendlies here? I can hear you, I'm just not sure where you are. Well, I'm sure they are going to bite me in the ass when I least expect it, and then throw me off a cliff or something. Let's open this up. Do we need to power this? It looks like we need to put in some frames. That's interesting. So we can just open this. That's really straightforward. Oh, actually, this is a hard drive. Well, that explains a lot in terms of the research that I've seen before. Interesting. Anyway, let's go down here. We can remove this. I think we'll actually leave the bridge in here for a moment, which probably means I should have also left the ladder in there. Sulfur is still flowing. Yes, yes. At what speed is this actually producing? This is actually only 60 parts per minute. We should probably upgrade this to a Mark II. Alright, this is now a Mark II, and I also improved the whole ladder situation over here, and that also, of course, means I'm gonna suicide down and take some unnecessary damage, but... Oh, hello, hello. Hello! Now, I'm not actually sure if some of those are friendly, but hey, it's resources, right? And we're here to get resources. Now, this goes all the way here, and then all the way down here. And then, as you can see, we have a little pillar in the middle, and then it goes all the way down here. But I prefer doing this in terms of getting to where we need to go. Now, you have to admit, this looks kind of cool, right? All this way down here. It even looks somewhat realistic, as in it's not entirely floating up in the air. We have this belt going all the way here, and the nice thing about these belts going in this direction is that we can use them as a speed run type of thing. There we go. And I already set up an assembler over here that has... I actually need to jump it up over here that I don't think we actually set the recipe yet, nope, but that we will be using to make black powder. Now we are going to need some coal as well as sulfur for that, and we have both of those right here. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to kind of tap into this thing over here. Now we are going to place a splitter, and let's align that. What? That's interesting behavior. Actually, let's see. If we take this one, the foundation like this, and we split that up like this, then of course I cannot jump on it. That's a little annoying. But I think we should be able to bring this up here. And let's see. If we get the splitter to go like this, I think that should work, right? So... Yep. That. Nope. Nope. Okay. So let's see if we have it like this then. That's actually not aligned. That's the problem. Well, okay. Let's try that again. Let's put it like this, and then have it go like this. That should work, right? Do I still need to connect this? No, I don't. Okay. So then I can actually get a belt, get it right in there, and then also make sure I get it back in there as well. It's not the prettiest right now, but considering this is actually not aligned to the world grid, unlike everything else that we've built so far, including this little place, by the way, this is actually aligned to the world grid. We're just gonna have to deal with it. Do we need to do anything else with the conveyor over here? I don't necessarily think so. So we're just going to do this like so, and let's see, how does this look if we do it like that? Let's have it go on slightly further and then in here. Now what's the problem? Why is this clipping? With what is it clipping? I don't know. But we are going to have to do this a little tidier than that. So let's see, let's do it something like this. And that should be mostly aligned, I think. Something like that. And then right in there. Yes, yes. Okay, and that should mean that we are now not producing anything because I haven't actually powered this yet. That's probably a good thing to do. Let's see, can I click this? Yes, I can. That's probably not the best place to connect that up, actually. Let's hold off. And let's take this power pole that we have right over here and connect that up to the... Hello? Assembler. There we go. And now we are actually producing some black powder, which means that I am actually going to build a MAM right here, wait for a couple of black powders to be produced, and then research the black powder so you can also get on to the next stage. Alright, so we have some black powder now, quite a bit of it actually, over 200, so let's see where that gets us. We can go to the tree and then see what we can research. So first of all, we definitely want the Nobilis detonator, because I assume this will help us blow stuff up. There we go, and let's see what else do we have. We have smokeless powder over here, which I have no idea what it actually does. Let's see. An explosive powder that's commonly used to produce modern firearms. So we can make guns. Okay, but we need plastic in order to do that. What do we have over here? We have the expanded tool belt, which is not necessarily needed, but we have the materials anyway. But before we get that, what's this? Compacted coal. which is a much more efficient alternative for coal. Well, considering we are relying on coal to actually power everything we currently have going, that seems like not a bad idea at all. And we do need a hard drive for that, so let's just go and unlock that. And while we're at it, we might as well unlock the expanded tool belt as well. So we'll need to revisit this tree as soon as we get access to plastic. Thank you, Ada. But for now, this will work. Fungus-like vegetation, we have nothing. Quartz. So while we're here, and we actually, the Blade Runners look interesting as well, because I actually think, let me see, quartz. I seem to remember, where's my mouse? There's my mouse. Wasn't there something like quartz somewhere nearby here as well? It's actually here in the back. And there's also something over here. We have sulfur over here. We could actually go into that direction and set up a quartz quarry as well, just to make sure we get some of that going as well, and we can unlock that part of the research. Let's see if that's actually reachable. Well, I said we were going to do science today, and we are definitely doing exactly that. And I found the quartz, and the good news is it's actually pure nodes, which I hadn't actually looked at before I went here, but it's 2 pure nodes. So this is a, well, quite a bit of quartz, to be honest. But the problem is it's actually, well, it looked quite close on the map, but the route we have to take to actually get here was a lot longer than I thought it would be. But anyway, nevertheless, we are going to set up a little quartz facility over here, where we are going to have to actually power it all the way from the back. And this is definitely one of those places where we probably want to set up a sink to well, make sure all that overproduction is going to be put to use while we are waiting and doing something else in between making a run, because there's no way we're going to belt this all the way back to our main base from over here. Well, I have no idea what we're actually going to do with all of this quartz and silicon that we're currently producing, but at least we're going to have enough. We are currently producing, well, we could be producing 480 quartz per minute. As you can see, the miners are not actually working at 100% speed, and that is because we could, in theory, double the amount of constructors that we have here, and we already have 11 of them. So yeah, we could, I think, fit in about 21. The ratios are a little weird when it comes to quartz, but at least this is already producing over 300 silicon per minute. And that's also why I have these 2 sinks attached to the storage facilities, because obviously these storage facilities, even though it's the larger version, are going to fill up pretty quick at this rate, and we are going to have a massive overflow, so we might as well put that to use. Now, once again, I have no idea what we're actually going to do with this, but at least we will be able to advance through the silicon, or quartz, I should say, part of the MAM. Speaking of which, we are now back at our base, and let's check what we can unlock. So we already had the quartz, we already had silica unlocked as well. We can now unlock the Blade Runners, assuming I have some of these frames in order to do that. Let's see, where are those? We should have some here somewhere. Right? There we go. I'm gonna have to restock those very soon, but for now we'll have enough. So let's see, not those. We actually do want to unlock those as well. But Blade Runners seems pretty nice to move around a little faster. And what else do we have? We have inflated pocket dimensions, 6 inventory slots. Yes, please. I'm glad I brought some of that silica with me. What is this? We have quartz crystals, and I have a feeling we should have probably set up our little facility slightly different all the way back there, but we'll have to work with what we have for the moment. We can unlock shatter rebar. In order to do that, we'll need some crystals, and we have a crystal oscillator, which I have no idea what it actually does. And this is a pulse nobelisk, so this seems like all kinds of different warfare. What's this? This seems interesting. The Explorer. So we get to make our own little buggy. I'm not entirely sure what the use of that is. I hope it can climb, because honestly the trucks have not been too well versed for vertical terrain, if you know what I mean. But let's see what we can unlock with the materials we have on us. And as it turns out, with the resources I had on me, I was able to progress a little further down the tree, but not actually all the way through it, mainly because we don't actually have all those crystals. So I did bring the quartz with me, but I didn't bring as much raw quartz with me as I probably should have if I had known that we were going to need all these crystals. Now, it's not a big deal, honestly. It all just requires one trip back to where we are producing the massive amounts of quartz and silicon. But that's probably going to be in the next episode, and then we should be able to craft ourselves a nice little buggy. I'm not entirely sure what the point of these alternative explosives are, but we should be able to craft those as well at that point. And then we actually have two things that I'm quite intrigued by. We have radio signal scanning, which requires a lot of motors. We only have a couple of those that we found near one of the crash sites, but we don't actually have a lot of those. It doesn't actually tell me what this is. So this is going to be interesting. I'm guessing this is going to boost my object scanner in some way, but that's just me guessing. And we also have the radar technology, and again, this actually does show me what it is. What is this? The radar tower. Scan their surrounding area to display additional information on the map. Basically tells you everything. Okay. But in order to do that, we are going to need some heavy modular frames. We can actually already make those. We aren't producing those, but we can make those. But we're also going to need circuit boards. Wow, flashback to the Isosphere program. But we're actually not making circuit boards. We can't actually make circuit boards yet. But once we get this, it's probably going to be very interesting to build a couple of those to check out our surroundings. But well, first things first, before that, we're probably going to have to unlock this. Now, getting back to the original point of this episode is actually to unlock the Caterium. We have some stuff that blows up now. Let's go do that. And here we are back at our nemesis. Now, let's see, how does this actually work? First things first, we can actually equip these things. Wow, okay, this is a lot faster. That's going to be really useful. But how do we actually blow stuff up? Let's see, we have a lot of stuff on us now, thanks to all the unlocks that we just did. Reloads. We have some stuff that blows up now. Ooh, we get sticky bombs. Okay, I have no idea how much damage this is going to do, but click. Nope. Auto mouse button. Whoa! Okay, that's a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm gonna enjoy doing that. Oh wow, we jump so much further now. I am probably going to suicide at some point getting used to this. Let me see, can we actually blow up rocks as well now? Click. Distance. Boom. Okay. Yep, I am definitely going to have a lot of fun with this. But first things first, let's set up a Caterium ore mine. Now look at this awesome platform which is aligned with the Caterium mine that we can place somewhere over there. Do you also notice what is not sticking through? Yes, rocks. I blew them all up. Anyway, we also have a catwalk over there because our copper mines are over there. You know, those copper mines that are currently not actually producing any copper because we tore down our original starting facility in the back over there, including the copper part of that. But anyway, we might put them to use at some point. But for now, we want to place down some Caterium production. Now, I'm actually thinking that we should probably aim this belt to the back because I actually have no idea how much space we are going to need. So let's check out this mining machine. This is actually going to produce 240 parts per minute. That seems like a lot. It's probably not, but anyway. And we're going to need some of this ore in order to research the next part of the tech tree. Okay, so let's see. We have the ingots leading to the wires, and then the wires leading to electronics, which is going to need a lot of wires, zip lines, which is going to need a lot of wires, and stun rebars, which once again are going to take a lot of wires. So I'm gonna go unlock the ingots and then the wires, set some constructors up in order to make those wires, and we'll take it from there. So we are currently mass producing the ingots, and we have unlocked the quick wire, and I did the math, and it turns out that with this full belt, well, almost a full belt, it's 240 per minute, we can almost entirely fuel 6 of these smelters, so that is quite nice. These are going to produce 80 ingots per minute, and that 80 ingots per minute is actually enough to supply 7 of these. Let's see if we can align these nicely. 7 of these constructors, and we are going to do exactly that. And let's see, we are going to have to wrap these around and then feed them back in, because of course we have different numbers of buildings. So we are going to do that like this. Should be pretty fast to build them. These are 6, these are 7. So that also means we are going to need quite a few of these mergers. Actually, no, we need splitters in this case. Let's start at the end. Let's make sure it's nicely aligned. There we go. Now you could actually opt to do this slightly differently with these splitters and mergers, but to be honest, I think it's fine like that. Honestly, once we actually get access to the smart version, there's a smarter, yes, I did that, smarter way to do that, but for now this will work as well. There we go. Alright, so now we actually need to connect everything up, and then we will have 360 quick wire per minute. And these are now operating at full speed, and let's see what we can unlock now, because actually I think it's quite a few things. What's this? This is Mark II power poles. That sounds like a lot of fun. I'm not entirely sure what you do with a Mark II power pole, but I'm assuming it has more connection or something. Let's see. Let's check that out. Can handle up to 7 power line connectors. That's quite convenient actually, and they're pretty cheap to make as long as we have some wire on us. Okay. What else? We have the zip line. That's going to be interesting and fun. I'm assuming we'll have to make that in this building. Yes, we do. We cannot make it because we need one of those first. Oh, let's make one of those. Just one. And then let's make one of those. Can we actually equip that? Well, we can, just not in the slots that we currently have available. I'm using the gun anyway, so... okay, so how do I use this? Can I just jump up? Ah! Okay, that was really scary. Oh, no. We are going to pretend that never happened, okay? Yes, please, yes, okay. So, once again, we are going to unlock some things. I'm so happy I saved there. Zipline, very dangerous. Do not use. Well, probably you should use it, just not over a power line that's over a chasm. What else can we unlock? We don't actually have this stuff with me, so I can make it, but it's not going to be all that interesting. I'm not sure what the point of all this ammunition is, because there's not that much to shoot at in this game. But AI limiters sounds interesting and fun. Let's limit the power of the AI. We can have a power switch. Interesting. Can be switched on and off to enable disable the connection between 2 power grids. I'm not actually sure I'm going to use this, but it's interesting. I'm not entirely sure what the use case of this would be. I mean, you can of course turn off parts of your factory with this if you would want to. I just don't entirely see why you would want to turn off part of your factory. But maybe you can let me know in the comments where you have actually used that, because I currently don't necessarily see what the point is. Okay. But this is what we really want to have. This is the smart splitter, and in order to do that we are going to have to craft some of these AI limiters. Now let's see, let's put down a craft bench. I assume I can make those here. Let's see, AI limiter, yes we can. We are going to need 10 of these. And I went ahead and just made a total of 60 manually, and that should allow us to unlock both the power switch, there we go, as well as the smart splitter. Now the smart splitter is actually going to be really interesting, but I also noticed that we have the programmable splitter over here with some items that I actually don't know what they are yet. Well, it's a supercomputer, but in order to make those we are actually going to have to make some high-speed connectors. I thought these were the circuit boards again, but this is apparently something else. As well as computer. So this is definitely like endgame stuff. But for now, let's check out what we need in order to make those smart splitters. Just some AI limiters actually, and only one each, so that's going to be pretty straightforward to make. So I'm just going to make a whole bunch of them, at least AI limiters that is, and then we're going to have some fun right here with this setup. So here we go, we have a pretty standard set of mergers set up over here. There's actually 2 sets of them because we are producing exactly 400 quick wire per minute. And there's no way we're going to use all of that, so we have a storage facility set up here, as well as another one over there in the back. And I'm really digging these, what are they called? These blade runners, because I can actually jump on top of buildings now very easily. And we're also running around so much quicker, so that's really nice. Anyway, we have a storage facility set up over there and a storage facility over here, and 2 of these sinks are ready to go to make sure we're actually making use of that. But rather than just dumping everything in the sink, we are going to use a smart splitter, and let's make sure it's actually aligned the right way. This should work. So we're going to set one in between the storage facility and the actual belt. There we go. Then we are going to connect that. That's actually perfectly aligned, that's nice. We are also going to do the same over here. Let's make sure it's all connected up. And then what we're going to have to do is make sure we actually configure this thing, because right now it's just functioning as a default splitter. It's just moving everything along. And you can actually set the left, center and the right, and that's of course looking from where things are coming in. So in this one we want to actually set the left output to overflow. That means anything that doesn't fit into this belt, so into this storage, will be sent to the left, and that will be going directly into our sink. So right now, as you can see, we're not actually putting anything into the sink, but as soon as this storage facility is full, it should be transporting all the remaining items into the sink. Now, of course, we're going to do the same thing over here. If we don't set anything into the splitter, by the way, I think it should just function as normal. Does it? Apparently it doesn't. Okay, so it actually just fits in everything straight through in that case. But we are going to set this one to the right to overflow. Now, for some reason, it actually outputs 3 of them for no apparent reason. I don't like how this belt looks, by the way, so we're going to have to do something about that. Oh wow, this is going to fight me, isn't it? There we go. But that should work. I think this little piece of grass is actually giving me some issues, but that should be fine. Anyway, there we go. We have a massive quick wire facility up and running now, and to be honest, it's looking pretty good. Also, I'm wondering why the bottom left smelter is kind of on fire. I know it's smelting, but there doesn't seem to be fire in any of the other ones. Anyway, yeah, if you're wondering why the belts in the back for the quick wire are moving a bit slow, that's because the constructors that are inputting into these splitters at the front of the line are actually being prioritized for some reason, and those are still unloading their buffer of quick wire that was in the machine before we actually put down the outgoing belts. So that will sort itself out after a while. As you can see, there's nothing going into the sinks just yet, but once it does, we should be getting a huge boost in terms of some of those tickets, so we can buy some new fun stuff. We also unlocked the blade runners with zip lines. We have access to Quartz now. We can blow stuff up, so we made some huge progress through the technology tree in this episode. We actually have the smart splitters now as well, which is going to be a huge boon for all our future builds, and by now we should have more than enough automated wire to move on to the next milestones and tiers as well. So that is going to be a lot of fun for the next few episodes. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, let me know in the comments, and I hope to catch you in the next